In the previous lessons, we worked on our categories UI, and in this lesson, we are going to work on the products UI, okay? So this is what we're going to be working on in this and the next lesson is getting the product cells UI setup as well as the model for the product cell. As you can see here, we're going to need several things. We're going to need to know the image URL, the product name, product price, whether or not it is favorited, along with timestamp and some of the other things that we did for the category as well. So let's get started. I'm going to start out in our storyboard. So let's go ahead and open that up. And we are going to need a new view controller. So I'm going to open up our object library, search for view controller, and just drag that right in here. And we are going to need a background image. I'm just going to grab the background image from our previous view controller, the home VC. You can just grab it right here from the document outline. I'm going to copy that, select our new view controller, and paste it. And just kind of drag it where it needs to be. And let's go ahead and set those constraints. It's going to be 0 from the left, top, right, and bottom. Select the view, current distance 69 for me, and press add those 4 constraints. Very good. Now let's go ahead and add our table view that we will need to display our products. And I'm just going to drag that in right here. And let's go ahead and constrain that as well. So we'll go 20 from the left, 0 from the top, 20 from the right, and uncheck the constraint margins and select the view and set that to 0, okay? Very good. Now while we're here, let's go ahead and set some settings for our table view. Check out its attributes inspector. And what I like to do is for the separator, I don't like having a separator, so I'm going to set that to none. And then I also don't really like having the horizontal or the vertical indicators, so I'm going to uncheck those as well. And finally, I'm going to change the background to clear color. And that should do it for our table view here. Let's go ahead and set a segue. So I'm going to hold Control, click on Home VC right here, and drag over here, and we're going to set this to Show. Then I'm going to select the segue that was created, come up here to the Attributes Inspector for the identifier, and we're going to set this identifier to ProductsVC. I'm going to copy that, and let's make a constant for that right away. Let's jump over here to constants. And we don't have a struct for segues yet, so let's do that. I'm going to say struct segues. And here I'm going to say static let to products equal, and then I'm going to paste what we set in the storyboard. So now we have our two products constant for our segues, so that's good. We'll be using that a little bit later. Let's check this out one more time, just make sure we have everything here. I believe we do, so that's looking good. The next thing we're going to need is obviously a viewcontroller.swift file for this view here. So here under our controller group, I'm going to right click and say new file, Cocoa Touch class, next, subclass of UI view controller, and let's call this ProductsVC. And we'll say next, and let's go ahead and say create. This one we don't need to be set for both targets. This is just going to be artable. And we're going to say create. Actually, I just remembered we do need it to be both targets. So with it selected here, over here in our file inspector, also check artable admin. There we go. Save that. I'm going to get rid of this comment here and this comment. And we'll add some outlets now. So I'm going to make a space for outlets and our variables. And here under outlets, let's go ahead and open up our assistant editor with the storyboard option and click on main.storyboard. And we want the table view here. Looks like we only need this one outlet. So I'm going to drag over, and since you're seeing that it's not showing up, that means that I forgot to set the custom class for this view controller scene. So selecting the view controller, come over here and set the class to ProductsVC. There we go. Now when I select the table view and control and drag, now you see that we can add that here. And I'm just going to call this table view and connect. Very good. Going to close our assistant editor, go back to our standard editor. And the next thing that we want to do is create our model for our product. Okay, so same sort of thing that we did for category. We're going to create a new file, and this is going to be the struct for our product. Okay, so I'm going to create a new Swift file, say next, and call this product. And this is going to need to be for both targets, so make sure those are both selected and say create. All right, very good. So let's create our struct. It's going to be named product. And we talked about a few of the fields, but I'm just going to go through and add all of those that we are going to need. We are going to need a name of type string. So this is the name of the product. We're going to want the ID of the product. Again, this is the Firestore ID, which we will talk about more in a couple of lessons. We want to know which category it belongs to. So I'm going to say var category of type string. Obviously, we need to know a price. So this is going to be a double. We want a description. So I'm going to say product description of type string. And the reason I'm doing product description is a reserved keyword. You'll get messed up if you try to just do description. And then we need an image URL, and that's of type string. Let's see here. We need to have a timestamp. We're going to order our products as well by when they were added. And that's going to be, we're going to need to import Firestore to get access to that. So import Firebase Firestore and then timestamp. And then I'm going to put in here stock. We're not going to be using it yet, possibly not in this tutorial, but just so you have it available to you. If you want to take this app even further, you can have stock, and you can have a limited number of products there. All right, so then we're going to say var favorite is a Boolean. Okay, so this is to indicate whether or not it is kind of on your wish list. And that looks pretty good for our product model. I'm going to save that. And that is a good little stopping point for this lesson. In the next lesson, we are going to start work on the product cell, Zib, and UI. All right, so I'll see you in the next one.